Yeah. Well, I do have the 2 o'clock hour. We've had quite a few join us. We might expect a few others, but I would say let's go ahead and get started. Yeah, here's one more. Let me get her on before we get.
I got her.
So great. Okay. Well, welcome everybody to our Quillo Nation call. Already September, it's hard to believe. The weather's changing. It's starting to get a little cooler, which I can't complain too much about. Always like the sweatshirt weather. Today's exciting because we have a full agenda, and so we're going to share a little good news as part of our agenda. We'll also have some user panelists that are with us. We're excited to have a couple of those live with us. And then a couple others did some video recordings for us. So we'll definitely have the opportunity to hear from a variety of folks. We'll talk a little bit about our push notifications and then take a moment for self-care, because we know how important that is, especially in this year of 2020. Things have just been so different. And then we'll wrap up with our next call. And as usual, we have our Quillo team with us today. Again, we've got John, our CEO and founder, Rebecca, who is our Chief Content Officer, and Kisa, who is also our production specialist. So each of us will be chiming in as needed, but most importantly, this is for you. So if you've got questions or want to ask additional, gain more information, please don't hesitate to either use the chat feature, which if you scroll to the bottom of your screen, you'll see a little bubble that says chat. Feel free to type your questions in there, or turn on your mics and ask the question in person. That's absolutely fine too. We monitor the chat, and we'll figure out who's going to answer the question, so please do that. In addition, I just want to remind everybody that we do record the sessions. So that is because a lot of people sometimes at the last minute can't make it, and there's many that have just conflicts with the meeting time. So we do send that out to everyone. And again, so glad you're here. As customer administrators and content managers, you guys are behind the scenes making things happen every day on Quillo. And just to kind of show you right now across the nation, here's where we have individuals. We did change our map a little bit. We do have now in the color of teal all the states where we do have a presence. So we do want to welcome everybody. And again, thank you for joining us on today's call. So as we like to do, we always want to start out with a little good news. And today, John has a couple stories that I think he's going to share with us. So John, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Well, thanks, Sue, and it's great to have everybody on board today. And two things that came up that I wanted to share is, one, got an email from one of our users that just shared with me that when they saw the DSP week this week and the first video coming out on Monday, I said it was such a great way to start the day, thinking about folks realizing how tough the week is and how tough the day is in light of everything going around. And, when we stop and think about it, we realize that we can have such a positive impact with folks with a simple message. And finding that time to record something, send it out, it creates a ripple that just keeps on growing. So I wanted to just share that with you. The second one is I got a call from one of our content managers who just said, you've said over and over again that the importance of hearing from us cannot be underestimated. And we get busy, we get so tied up that we sometimes forget to record videos, and then once it gets behind, we fall further behind. And he said, it just came up to me when one of our DSPs ran into me in the office and shared, gee, I'm glad you're okay, because we hadn't seen any videos from you for a long time, and I was worried about you. And this isn't someone that they see on a regular basis. And in fact, he didn't even know for sure that person's name. But she felt connected to him because she had been watching his videos. And he said, it got me convinced that I've got to be regular about this. And every Thursday, he's going to record videos and get them out to folks. So never, never underestimate the power that positive messaging can have with your folks and the people that's out there. So that's my two good news stories for today.
Great. Hey, thanks, John, for sharing those. Well, I just want to say that we're excited today because we're going to be hearing from our end users. And that's exciting for us because many times, you know, we worry about things that aren't necessarily going right. Well, what we did is we tried to identify who are those folks who are out there using Quillo, and let's actually hear from them. So we identified some of our top users. We sent out an invitation to several of them, and we're happy to say that we got 4 individuals who responded back and said, hey, I'd be happy to share my experience. So with us today, let me introduce those individuals. First is Maria Cote, and she's a client support specialist with Hoosier Special Care. So Maria, just give us a little wave so we know who there she is. Great. We also have with us Erica Tyler, and Erica is a community support manager with an organization in Wisconsin called Community Living Connections. So Erica. So those 2 individuals are going to be live with us to answer a few questions. But in addition to those individuals, we had 2 others step forward. A gentleman from the village of Marici here in Indiana. His name is Mike Walensky. And he's identified Patrice Bryce. And Patrice is a program coordinator at Trinity Services in Illinois. Each of them, unfortunately, had a conflict with the time frame, so they did agree to actually do a video for us. And so we will show some of their responses on their video. So with that, what I'd like to do is start out with both Maria and Erica, since they're live here with us, and have them just talk a little bit about kind of the 3 questions that we started off with. Just give us a little bit more introduction about who you are, kind of your role that you're playing right now, and how long you've been in the field. And then a little bit about why you're watching Quillo, and when do you watch Quillo? Give us a little information about that experience. So we're going to start with Maria. Maria, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Maria Cote, and I've been working with Hoosier Special Care I've been working with them for about 3 years as a DSP, but I'm also a parent. So my son has been with their organization for, gosh, I'm not sure exactly now how long, maybe 5 years, something like that. When we moved to Indianapolis from Anderson, their agency was recommended to us. And it's been a very good fit. We've been very happy with it. So I've been working about 3 years we had some changes in circumstances, and I'm sure everybody knows how hard it is to get staff. So at one point I started working partly as his staff. Right now I'm doing it all the time because of the pandemic, and because my son has thyroid cancer that's under control right now, but he's at risk. So I'm doing the hours at the moment. So that's where we are right now. Let's see. In my other life, I'm a teacher, but I'm not doing that right now. Okay. Let's see. The next question, I wrote down the numbers, not the question.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit, Maria, about why you've been watching Quillo.
Well, I guess the first reason is just that it's an expected part of my job, I think, is that, it's almost like professional development in a sense. So that's one reason. I think that they are very well made. And I think that it's nice to have kind of that brief 1 minute jolt of information, sometimes just encouragement or something interesting. But it's brief and to the point, and I think they're well made. And I don't know what else to say there, but
Yeah, that's fine.
they're
So,
very
so really,
positive.
so, yeah. So part of it, the organization said, you know, hey, this is something that we want for your development.
Sure.
So you've been watching that. And tell us a little bit about when you kind of watch videos. What's your routine?
Typically, I watch them because I have a tablet that I use for my notes for that. It's from the agency, a tablet that we use for our notes and things. And so, and MyQuillo app is on that tablet. So typically what I do is at the end of my shift, a lot of times at the end of my shift, it's my son is my client. So he's usually doing something on his own at that point. So when I fill out my notes, I usually watch the video at the end of my shift when I'm completing my notes. So that's typical for me.
Yeah, just another kind of curious question on my end. Do you typically watch just one video at a time, or are you usually watching several at a time? What's kind of
it depends on what my shifts are looking like. If I'm working every day or most days of the week, it might just be one, or if there's one that just there's one that's sent out every day as one to watch, but then sometimes I'll watch a different one if there's one that catches my interest in the front. Other days I might watch 2 or 3 if it's been over a weekend or something and I haven't been on that tablet. So typically at most probably a couple at a time.
Thanks, Maria, for sharing your insights. Erica, I'm going to switch over to you now. Share a little bit about, again, who you are, kind of why you've been watching Quillo, and kind of what's your routine.
Sure. My name is Erica Tyler, and I'm with a community support manager with Community Living Connections in Wisconsin, and I work in Beaver Dam. I've been in the field for over 30 years. I started when I was doing my undergrad program for special education and got hooked in the working with a variety of different group homes. So I've been in a lot of situations in the past 30 years. So, and as far as, again, watching Quillo kind of came about because they said this was available, the app was available, and they encouraged us to look into it. And so I put it on my phone and get the alerts every day. And I've really enjoyed it, actually. I found out that it's not as common as I thought it was within the organization. My own coworker does not have it on her phone, but I really enjoy it and look forward to the little alert every day that lets me know it's new. And I generally look at it when I'm normally when the alert comes through, or if I have a little bit of downtime or I'm waiting for someone. A lot of times I'm picking somebody up from something or taking them somewhere, or if we're in a doctor's office, I will sit and I will watch the videos then.
Great, thank you for sharing, Erica. Just got a note from Sue that her internet's a little bit unstable, so I'm gonna hop in here for a moment while she comes back on. But Erica and Maria, thank you for sharing your insights. We're gonna switch gears back to the videos that we have recorded from our folks who couldn't join us in person. So swap back here. And first we'll hear from Mike Walensky out of Indianapolis, Village of Marici.
I've been an ally. I'd preface this by saying that I've been an ally of people with intellectual disabilities since I was a child. Secondly, I've been involved as a volunteer in Special Olympics for many, many years. And then thirdly, I became a coach or a professional service provider for the Village of Marici 3 years ago. So I've been actively involved literally through my entire life in supporting individuals with intellectual disabilities. In addition to that, from a professional standpoint, I was the first professional to serve as Director of Development for Down Syndrome Indiana about 10 years ago. So I've been in this space for many years. I've been watching Quillo for a number of reasons. I think first and foremost, the organization that I serve, the Village of Marici, has invested quite a bit of resources into acquiring Quillo to provide inspiration and education for the DSPs or the coaches that serve the organization. So I feel an obligation first to my organization. Secondly, I feel that it's a great resource for me to learn some new things about ways to interact or support the people that I'm involved with. Or thirdly, it's another way to keep me motivated on an ongoing basis so that every day is a new day and every day I can experience some really positive things with people that I support. I generally watch Quillo videos on two different levels. On one level, I often share videos that are specific to individuals I support, and I have an opportunity at some point during the course of the service to provide the showcase of the video to the individual that I'm with. And sometimes that's a real positive thing because just as much as I'm learning from the video, the individuals I support also learn as well. Secondly, I usually watch Quillo when I'm home alone, when I have downtime, when I have time to focus, and generally I watch at least 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 videos at a time because it allows me to sort of relax and take in the information. And sometimes I do take notes, but mostly it's just a great tool to refresh some of the things I've been doing and to keep me engaged.
So now we're going to hear from Patrice.
I'm Patrice Bryce, and I've been employed at Trinity Services as a program coordinator since 2007. I usually like to watch the Quillo videos as soon as I arrive at work. There's so many of them are motivating and creative, and it's a good way to start off the day. I started watching Quillo when my employer, Trinity Services, introduced Quillo to us. I enjoy the topics that Quillo offers, and I like that I can pick the type of videos that I want to watch.
Great. Okay. Well, again, as you heard, you can see there's some key themes in terms of when people are watching videos, as well as why they're using Quillo. So I hope as you listen as a customer administrator or a content manager, you start to thinking about the importance of individuals have a variety of reasons why they're watching Quillo. So hopefully you continue to hear that as we move forward. So I want to go back now to Maria and Erica. And Maria, tell us a little bit about how does watching Quillo really make you feel, and how has it really helped you in your role?
Okay. Well, I kind of mentioned this before, but I appreciate the fact that they're very brief kind of shots of information or motivation or just well, like the history videos, for example, of the disability movement, things like that. I appreciate that just kind of very short but powerful bit of information. I guess if that makes sense. As I said, I'm also a parent, so I think they're probably even more valuable for someone who is not a parent or who does not have experience with people with disabilities. Some of the information just I know because I'm a parent and I've been doing this my son's whole life. So certain things like behavior management or different things like that. But on the other hand, there are also some things that I've found really interesting just for my own information as well. Like I was thinking of anything transition related because that's where my son is at. And I particularly enjoy the Erskine Green videos because we've actually had experience with Megan in the past through Riley. And so just seeing somebody familiar is kind of nice, but also just the work they're doing. I enjoy hearing about what they're doing, and I enjoy hearing from especially adults with disabilities talking about their experiences and talking about how just how they've gone about things and or how they feel about things. That those are also helpful to me. So even though I feel like some of the information is more helpful maybe for someone who's new to the field, there's still plenty in there that I find useful and helpful. And I just like again, they're very positive, and the colors videos and some of the others. Whoever does your what do you call it? Talking over the videos has a very soothing voice. And, so I just think that's what I found about them, I guess.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Maria, for sharing your thoughts on that. Erica, let's turn it over to you. What would you like to share?
Well, like Maria, very similarly, the color videos are some of my favorites, and I enjoy watching them. Also, because of getting information, I've learned some different things that I didn't know of, and having been in the field a long time, it's always nice when you gather some new information. And a lot of times I will watch them if I'm having kind of a stressful day. And so that's kind of where the color ones come in. I like to watch those because they kind of give me a few moments to take a few breaths, and the pictures are lovely, and I agree about the soothing voice. So it just gives you a chance to kind of relax a little bit when you're in a stressful situation. So I really enjoy that.
Yeah. Have either of you had experiences with watching not only the Quillo videos, but your organizational videos? Tell us a little bit about that. Erica, you're shaking your head, yes?
Yes. They put a couple out, and I'm trying to remember when, but they showed one, and being in Beaver Dam, most of Community Living Connections programs are in the Madison area, and Beaver Dam is about an hour from Madison. So I don't know a lot of the folks we support over there, and they had a video with one young lady, and she was playing the piano, and I am a piano player myself, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. And then another time they had a thank you to all of the DSPs and managers, and it just kind of made me smile. I'm like, well, those are my people. So it was just really neat to see.
Great. Maria?
Yeah, I know Terry, and I think Terry's on this call. Terry has put out some videos with some information that we've needed, especially with the pandemic recently. I think he had put some videos out about that, and we've also had a few other people, other staff people who have done videos about using Quillo. I think was one of them. That was quite a while ago. So yeah, that's helpful, and it is nice to see. It is nice to see people that you recognize.
Yeah.
Videos.
Well, yeah. So I think that's one of our goals with Quillo is that, organizations send their own messages and continue to support the successes that are happening in their organizations. And just as both of you mentioned, you like to see that type of information and get to know other members of your team. And when you work remotely and by yourself, many times it is kind of a nice way to be able to stay connected to the organization. So, okay, well, thanks for sharing your insights on those two questions. Let's turn it back over to our videos. And Rebecca, you want to pull up the first one from Mike?
I think depending upon the video that I'm watching from Quillo, I have mixed emotions. And those emotions are really generated by the content of the videos, but also impacts me based on, my thoughts and feelings for the day. But mostly it's a very satisfying feeling. Mostly it's a very comforting feeling. I think it's Pete the coffee guy. I just love watching him. I think the minute I have a chance to listen to him, it just soothes me. And he always has some really outstanding information. At the same time, there's a lot of individuals, both as parents or as self-advocates, who I know personally. And it gives me great pleasure to listen to them. And they always have some really good insight from a personal standpoint, because I think that that the work that we do is personal. And as we all know, it's extremely private. So to hear some real positive comments from people that we know just sort of reinforces the work that we do. I think first and foremost, I've had a long history from a professional standpoint of working with both nonprofit and for-profit organizations, and I've also provided some consulting work. And I think those are a couple of things that's very important. Number one is professional development. I think there's some organizations that do a really good job of developing people so that they can be productive in the workplace, but at the same time, they can have continuity so that people stay there. I think I've been with the Village of Ruchi now 3 years, and frankly, I'd like to work with the organization for another 50 years because I feel inspired. I feel that they care about their employees providing these tools. At the same time, I think, as far as Quillo is concerned, we don't know all the answers. And I don't think that the people we support obviously know all the answers. And we're always searching. And I think in life, regardless of whether we have a disability or not, if we can be long life learners, then we have the opportunity to live a real quality life and be very productive. And to have a tool like Quillo to kind of provide us with some extra information about ways that we can approach things, whether it's health or whether it's art or whether it's interactive, things of that nature, I think are real positive, and that can go a long way in the long run. It's a great investment.
Okay, let's hear from Patrice.
I enjoy watching Quillo because it's uplifting and educational. I enjoy that it's about a minute long and you can talk about the topics with the people we serve or my coworkers. Quillo has helped me to become motivated. I like topics that focus on ways to help educate us, and I like the Quillo of the day. I enjoy listening to the different ways people motivate each other and the positive psychology topics. I like how Quillo reaches out to all the different jobs in our field. For example, today is the start of DSP week, and when I opened MyQuillo, there was a video that thanked all the DSPs for their hard work.
Great. Thanks, Rebecca. So once again, what I enjoyed hearing as everyone was talking was just, which videos touched them. And because there's a variety, people are going to be touched by different videos. As you heard, the color videos or Pete, the coffee guy, are always some of our some of the favorites. So again, a variety of videos out there. And again, thanks for helping us better understand how Quillo makes you feel and how it's helped you. So our last set of questions now roll into, do you share the videos with others? And if someone is new to Quillo, tell us a little bit about how you would describe Quillo to them. Maria, we'll start with you.
I think I gave you this example when we talked earlier, but as far as sharing videos with others, I occasionally share them with my son, and the one that cracks him up and is also useful information is the "What color is your pee?" And that's helpful information for him, as well as he thinks it's funny. So that's one that we share, and occasionally I might show him the color ones or something like that. So let's see, I don't know if I've shared them. I have occasionally, and I haven't pursued this enough, but there are a few of them that I've tried to look further into the person giving the information about whatever organization they're representing, because it looked like it was interesting. And I haven't been able to, I'm trying to think of the person. There's a young man who talks about an organization, and I can't remember the name of it, but I would like to know more about what they do. It's here in Indianapolis, I'm pretty sure. So, so anyway, but so there's sometimes I pursue it a little, look into where the person is. As far as describing it to someone new, I think I would go back to they're brief, they're informative, they're helpful for people who have been in the field a long time, and for parents in many ways. And I think they're even more helpful to someone who's never been in the field and, is learning new things, because it's a way to get some information that's valuable in a very brief, I think very well done format. So
thanks, Maria. We appreciate your insights on that. Erica, how about for you?
I have not actually shared the videos with others, but I talk about them. I've shared with my coworker, and we have a couple of staff that help us out from time to time. And I've been trying to figure out how to put it on our staff phones so that, because they've heard me talk about them all the time. So I talk about the little videos and say, oh, I watched this one and it was really neat. And I'm a little technologically challenged in some ways, so I'm still working on trying to figure out how to put it on the staff phone so that they can have access to it. But as far as describing them, I would say they're short, inspirational, informational, and encouraging videos is how I feel about them when I watch them. So.
Great. Well, thank you very much for sharing that. One of the things that Maria, you were referring to there was, trying to find more information about some of the authors. And again, if people read the descriptions, we do try to put links on there to help individuals get more information about topics or places. So it is nice to hear that people are reading those and finding that information helpful. So thank you. Appreciate that. So now let's flip over again to our videos with Mike and Patrice and hear a little bit more from them around these two questions.
I think it's important to share videos, but I think there are certain videos that are more in tune to providing guidance or education for people with support. Certainly not all the videos are applicable, but the ones that I feel that can really benefit people that I support, I generally show. Whether they focus their attention on that or not, it doesn't make any difference, because what we try to do is just try to always reinforce things over and over again. So generally speaking, the good news is, I think for Quillo, is if I show a video from Quillo once to an individual, I'm probably going to show that video maybe 3 times during a course of a 4-hour session, because I understand that even when you show it the first time, you're not going to get the full effect. So sometimes it takes 2 or 3 times to be able to reinforce the message. So I think it's a great tool, and it's easy, it's intuitive to use. And I think the individuals that I work with generally like video. They like to watch video. In fact, they love watching movies. They like watching TV, and watching Quillo is no different. So I think it provides a great comfort zone for all of us. I think from an organizational standpoint, I think Quillo is effective to support the professional development of the individuals who work within an organization. I think that's a vital piece of having an effective tool to support individuals who work for a company. I think from an educational standpoint, it's a great asset because we're always searching for answers. I think thirdly, it's a great inspirational tool because sometimes you search for answers, sometimes you get frustrated on the job, and you come home, and as much as you have a family, or in my case, I have a dog, or I like to walk, sometimes it's nice to have something else to be able to take your mind off the day's activities. And the good news is there's a lot of videos that I've seen that really provide a real positive influx of energy that I can take with me for the rest of the day.
I have shared some videos that our agency has made with the ladies that attend my CDS program. My coworkers and I have shared videos that we have made. For someone who is new to Quillo, I would describe it as a short 60-second video that communicates to a large audience on a daily basis. There are a wide range of topics covered. Some of my favorite are positive psychology, motivational videos, and health-related topics. Thanks, Quillo.
Well, that's a great way to end our little video series there. So really appreciated Mike and Patrice putting those videos together for us. And since we do have Maria and Erica here live, does anyone in our meeting today have questions for them or other things that you'd like to share about your experiences? Feel free to. Sharon, I see you taking your mic off there, so thanks for jumping in. Go ahead.
Yeah, we haven't adopted the Quillo system yet, and I am thinking we're probably going to use it as a family support tool down the road. But one of the issues that we've been debating as an agency is how to get people to click onto the videos. And I don't know if the push notifications have been set up yet, but have your companies done anything to kind of create the culture of opening the videos and watching them?
I think, at least at the company I work at, I feel like it's an expectation as part of your job, which is not a bad thing. I mean, I don't mean that to sound like, I don't know what, but I think I think it was just kind of, this is, you know, we have this resource now, and, you know, be sure you're checking it out. And I think that's fine, because I think it's very short. It's not, you know, asking people to spend 20 minutes a day doing something. It's a minute long, and it's useful, and they're well done. So I don't know. I think there was just an expectation set that we would use it, and I don't know how else to explain that, but.
No, that's great.
Great. Thanks, Maria. Erica, anything to add?
No, very similar. I don't think they've really pushed it, but we were encouraged to look into it. And as I've mentioned before, having the alert or the little ding that comes over my phone is a good reminder for me of, oh, I need to check that out today. And I actually look forward to that. If it doesn't ding, then I'm looking at, well, why didn't it ding?
So you are getting an alert then that, boom,
Yeah.
your videos popped up. Okay, super.
Yeah. Anybody else? John, did you want to add anything?
One of the key things that we've learned from folks is the more that leaders in the ARC or in the organization are watching and sharing information out, the more interest there is from everybody up and down the line. That it may be a topic that Dave has shared out from within his organization that people are then talking about and relating to, as well as something that comes from Quillo. We often will find, as we'll look at organizations, that there's, with any new idea, there's a growth pattern as people get your early adopters and then your later adopters, and then they have what they call the laggards, the people that never want to take on anything new. It is also so important that when people just say, hey, did you see Jenny? She did this great video about and what we're doing. Or some have started this idea that they'll have a 10-minute check-in. As they've done, a lot of staff have gone to video staff meetings to do quick check-ins with folks because we can't get around to see everybody like we used to. And they're saying, did you see the video on Thursday about wearing a mask. And Mike Walensky helped with one of the folks he supports named Nick, who happens to have a disability. And Nick's talking about, what's the big deal? I like wearing a mask. It makes me feel safe. It makes others feel safe. And just get over it. It's easy to do it. You see him putting on the mask and going for a walk. And seeing a person with a disability saying, hey, it's no big deal. That became a teaching tool for everybody. We've also found that when people raise an issue and say, boy, we'd love to have something about a topic. And Jenny and her team suggested a couple topics to us. We then, we turned right around to Jenny and one of her team members and said, that's a really good topic. Why don't you guys help us film some from your perspective on that? And they did, and it was really great. And then we went looking for some other expertise. So Jenny's in Wisconsin. We're talking to Dave and his team in Texas and said, boy, we're looking at this issue of how do you deal with somebody with early onset dementia? And they said, we've got this wonderful PhD occupational therapist that's helped us figure out how we can address this. And she's recording a series of about 12 videos. Those can become discussion topics and say, hey, what do you think about this idea of painting the doorways to people's rooms and bathrooms different colors so that it helps become a signal that this is where you go for your bathroom. This is your bedroom. And the idea that ideas bubble up from folks. So as we look at this, sometimes people think, well, we're going to put this out there and it'll be magic and everybody will start using it. We forget that 40% of our folks work 2 jobs, 10% work 3 jobs. Everybody's stressed. We also live in a culture where a lot of our communication is pretty stressful right now. And even listening to the radio on the way to work can be stressful as you look at things. So the idea that we want to introduce something new, it needs to take time and have consistent application. One of our folks was talking about instilling a new habit. You know, Mike talked about you have to say something 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
They would say that people have to hear things 5 to 7 times before they start doing it. And they need to do it for 100 days before it becomes a habit, to where we look at this. There's a quick question on the push notifications. We did roll out the pushes. For many people, they're working fine. For other people, they're not. We've discovered we're continuing to work inside the technology, and we think we're close to understanding what's causing it for a problem for some folks. But they are working for a lot of folks where you can just touch on the push and go right to the video. And as we look at it, so.
Yeah, great. Sharon, thank you very much for asking the question. Anybody else? Any other questions?
I can't miss an opportunity as a content person to ask Erica and Maria if there are any topics that you haven't seen on Quillo that you would be interested in seeing videos about, either at an agency level or from Quillo broadly. It's okay if not right now. You can always drop an email later, but anything missing?
I don't know if, I'm sorry, go ahead, Erica.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say that, you know, anything on transition or job related skills, or, and I'm saying this almost as a parent more even than a DSP, but anything along those lines, anything, and I think you have approached some of this too, is, you know, equity issues and things like that. I'm interested in learning about, I kind of mentioned this before, learning about some of the other people who are doing things in the local area that I wasn't aware of. So when they put on a mini video, you know, a little video that gives me this, oh, wow, that's going on. I didn't know that was going on. Maybe something, this isn't really for me, but for some people it might be helpful, is like colleges. I know like Bloomington IU has a program for some people with disabilities, and just those types of things, maybe.
Yeah. Great suggestions. Thanks, Maria. Erica?
I was just going to say, John just mentioned it. For me, it was, I was looking for information on Alzheimer's because I had an individual that was recently diagnosed. And so just looking for different ways that we can work with him and hopefully help him as we encounter new situations.
And Erica, it was great that you did that, and we're really looking forward to Dr. Brown. Is it Dr. Brown, Dave, that we're talking about? I remember first name.
Dr. Golden?
Dr. Golden.
Yeah, another color.
Yes. And thank Dave and his team so much for making her available to us and sharing that just as we talked with her, she had some amazing things that she's done with staff that are so simple that are incredibly helpful. For example, I'll just give you a little teaser. She talked about putting your hand underneath someone's hand rather than on top of their hand to guide them. Or how do you deal with someone who's saying they just came back from lunch with their mother and their mother's been dead for 12 years? And how do you try to correct them of that? Or do you say, well, how was lunch? You know, what is your goal? You're not going to cure them of Alzheimer's. And so Dave and his team introduced us to a wonderful resource, and as soon as those become available, we'll be highlighting you to those first, Erica.
Thank you.
I would like to just add maybe something on housing, or like those types of the issues around housing, whether it's finding it or different forms, or how even relationships within housing, you know, just different options out there.
Great, good topic.
Excellent. Well, I know we probably could spend another hour talking to end users, and I am just so appreciative for Erica and Maria joining us today and giving us their perspective. Thank you guys so much for doing that. And again, as others who are on the call with us today, as the content managers, customer administrators of Quillo, I hope that you're taking away and hearing from all of our panelists, the four, Erica, Maria, Mike, and Patrice, that, you know, Quillo does offer a value. And again, as an organization who is using it, it's a tool that can really help inspire those individuals who are out there working hard every day to make sure that they're supporting the people that your organizations are involved with. So again, thanks to everyone who was here today. We hope to be able to do another session with end users. So again, thanks to everyone. I'm going to flip it over now to Rebecca, and she's going to share and wrap us up for today's session. So Rebecca.
Great. Thank you so much, Sue, and echoing the thanks to Erica and Maria for joining us today. It came up briefly earlier about the push notifications, but as John noted, we ran into an unfortunate glitch with the push. If you recall, on the August Quillo Nation, when we announced it, I wanted, you know, trumpet sounds, and now it's more of like the wah-wah sound. Unfortunately, in the week or so afterwards, noticed there was an issue with a small percentage, or only about 10% of our users were actually receiving the push notifications. So we're hearing from folks that that's an issue. Wanted to reassure you that our app developer is working on it right and left, trying to sort it out. Hopefully you saw the email message last week recommending that in the interim, until that push notification is active, we do recommend that you use a secondary notice if you're using any daily focus of your own. So you might have seen that you've started getting text messages again from Quillo's daily focus in the last week, especially with DSP week, and knowing that some of you were making your own content. We didn't want you to miss out on having a notice of some kind in case your users aren't in the group receiving pushes. So two-sided apology for that, you know, being down, and also for those of you where it is working, that you're now receiving double notices. So we should hope to get that resolved as soon as possible, and we'll keep you updated with any other news there. So any questions or comments on that one? Okay. All right, whereas we're winding down here, I had to keep myself from chuckling before when a couple of you mentioned the color videos. That I swear we didn't plug that or plant that at all. The videos we were going to highlight this week was, in case you've missed them, we call them a colorful fill up, and they're great just for kind of a meditative wind down. We've got one for Roy G. Biv there. if you just type in colorful or color, that series should pop up. So another very relaxing one, when in a year that we could all use a little relaxation. So another one is the Take What You Need series. That video is a great one for highlighting other self-care videos that are out there. You can see on the screen, it's take what you need, and it's you need encouragement or advocacy, whatever it is. And then we make suggestions on that topic. So that one's sort of a lily pad, a leapfrog pad, whatever it is, it gets you to another series that might be helpful for you. So, and as always, you can use the search bar to locate those. So, otherwise, if there aren't any other questions or comments as we wrap up here, I know we're getting towards the end of DSP Appreciation Week. So for those of you who are in that role, a huge thank you. And for those of you who help make those jobs, supported and everything, just a shout out to everyone in the field this week. So yeah, go ahead, John.
The last thing I'll leave with folks is just we're talking about as we think about this, and thank all of 4 of our users for getting on, and so many of you were so comfortable and just sharing your story, and that's what it's really so important. For those that are managers, the other thing we often ask people to think about is, what were the last 5 messages your staff received from a supervisor? And now if you're mindful of it and thinking about what people have shared today, what are the next 5 you want them to hear? Because so many of folks, they're following you as leaders. They're looking to know more about what you feel and what you're doing, and consider that sense of what you do. I know many of you leaders on this call and folks from around the country have an incredible personal story of what brought you into this field. And if I asked each of you to think about the first person with a disability you worked with, and what that was like, you would have this amazing, powerful story. And I'll end with just the comment that one of our users shared when we were interviewing one of our other users. And I said, what do you wish, you've been on the job now 30 days, what do you wish they'd have told you in orientation that they didn't tell you? And she immediately just jumped in without a hesitation and said, I wish they'd have told us how amazing these people are that we work with and their stories. And they're going to stick with me forever. And so never doubt how your story can impact others and inspire them along the way. Thank you for being here today.
Appreciate it. Thanks, everyone. You have a great rest of the week. And again, to those that are with us on the panel, Erica, Maria, thank you so much. And take care, everybody.
Take care. Bye-bye.